So, first question was first gig you went to.
The first gig I remember going to was a multiple bill one. And the two that I remember were the Swinging Blue Jeans and the Mersey Beats.
Oh, so tempted to embellish that. I'm going to leave that. That's perfect. The last gig you went to.
Last gig I went to was a fantastic one, luckily enough. It was my first time seeing a gig in the Albert Hall, and it was Patti Smith. And it was her second night. She was doing two nights. First night, from what I heard, was a bit of a ramshackle, nervous affair from her, but she sure found her stride. Second night, fantastic.
Brilliant. I'm sure that was amazing. Gig that most surprised you, good or bad?
Okay, I've got two or three gigs that have surprised me, and I'm slightly reticent to say which ones were bad because we all have off nights. But Iron and Wine was a huge disappointment. I actually left, and I rarely leave a gig, but I thought I'm actually past my limit of boredom here. It was real poor show from Sam there. Sorry, Sam. Called Sam in it. He doesn't care. Another one that was a great surprise was I saw Dan Penn and Spooner Oldham play, just the two of them. And I don't know if you've ever seen Dan Penn. He comes on in a pair of dungarees, basically. And I've never seen such power and emotion come from a man in a pair of oversized dungarees. So that was a great surprise. And two other great surprises stand out. One was I was very lucky to take a trip to New York, and I was looking for gigs to go to, and the Bitter End is one of the only clubs that's still kind of going from days of yore. And we went along, and just the night we happened to be there and just walked in, were local musicians doing a charity night that they do every year apparently, which is recreating The Last Waltz. And these local New York bands, just to about 10 people in the room, did the most blistering versions of that gig. It was phenomenal. And the other great surprise was I went to see Status Quo when I was a teenager. My friend had a ticket. It's always my friend, isn't it? But my friend had a ticket, and I went along. Quo were pretty good. Yeah, they were great. This was late 80s movie, so they were in their stride as well. But the support act were just some unknown band from Newcastle. And they were just all right too. But being a sort of fresh gig goer at that stage, I hung about afterwards to try and meet the support act. Because I was starting to play in bands myself at that time and, just trying to sort of chat to people that I saw that I liked. And there was a woman in that band, and this is sort of telling of the time. There was a woman in that band that I sort of became a bit of a groupie to in a sort of very friendly way. And we ended up keeping in touch by letter. We used to write letters to one another for a few years afterwards. And I just thought, I wonder how many gigs does that happen at now? So that was a very big surprise that I ended up having a sort of letter relationship with a band member that I saw at a
What
Status Quo gig.
what was the band name?
I can't remember.
Oh, I was going
I
to put it in
can't
put
remember.
it in the video. That was all. That's okay.
Yeah.
The gig that you travelled the furthest to see.
I probably traveled furthest to see Jimmy Tenor play in somewhere in the south of Spain. I'd been a Jimmy Tenor fan for years and never managed to catch him on UK turf. So it happened that I was going to be traveling or staying in Spain one year, and I found that he was playing in some weird remote little town. So made my way to there, and it was great.
Brilliant. First gig you went to with a partner.
There's two that stand out. I went with a proper partner, right, an official partner. They agreed to be my partner. I remember going to see PJ Harvey, and I'd seen PJ Harvey a few times. My partner hadn't, and we ended up having a fight. so, so that went well. The other gig I remember when I was much younger uh, was with I didn't go with them, but I knew they were going, and I fancied the pants off this person, and I was really hoping that they would go with me to this gig, but they didn't want to go with me, but I knew they were going anyway, so I went as well, and it was to Transvision Vamp. in the Ulster Hall, and I just tried to sort of rather creepily stand as close as possible to this girl that I really wanted to go out with, but she didn't want to go out with me.
And did it end successfully?
Uh, Not with her, but the band were good. Yeah, the band were really. That was a good gig. It was fun.
Okay. Gig you had a ticket to but missed.
Two I remember. One was TV on the radio, and the other was the Zombies. I'd never seen the Zombies, and I thought, oh, brilliant, have that. But I got the ticket way in advance, and of course, time came. I think it was about 10 o'clock at night. I suddenly jolted out of my seat, going, "I'm supposed to be at the Zombies!" So it was just too late.
Oh,
I couldn't have got there at the time. So yeah, gutted.
oh, yeah, big time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gig that you went to that made you miss the last bus or train home.
Well, I can't recall. I know that there's been many because I can remember the long walks in the rain back from things. So I'm sure there are, but I can't remember specific ones. But one I do remember seeing other people miss their last train was, and it's one of the best gigs I've been to again, was Neil Young playing the Edinburgh Playhouse. And he was so enjoying himself that he must have played at least an extra hour. And you could just see all these tetchy movements in the seats going, but and loads of people had to leave, and you know, you could see some that were just going, sod it, I'm staying. So yeah, he was flying that night and didn't want to come off stage.
Yeah, I saw him in the Hydro. I don't know if it was the same tour, but he finished on Sunday night and he finished about 20 past 11. And
Yeah,
we had to get an Uber back to Greenock because we missed the last train. So, but it was worth it.
worth it, absolutely.
All day
Yeah.
long. Uh, Bucket gig in the past you wished you went to.
Oh, there's a few. I'm a big fan of Buffalo Springfield. Huge band for me when I was young. So catching them at the Whiskey a Go Go would have been phenomenal. That guitar dueling. Um, Other ones where I would love to have seen Ike and Tina Turner review. The power that they had, the energy that they had was phenomenal, start to finish. That would have been amazing to see. Um, any of the nights on the Stax 67 European tour, something like that would have been good. The Stop Making Sense tour from Talking Heads, or catching any of those, you know, 8 hour long sets of the Beatles in Hamburg, seeing what they were really like, you know, kind of paying their dues would have been amazing.
Yeah, would indeed. And bucket gig you're still waiting to go to.
Yeah, this is hard. There's no big ones that I'm thinking. Yeah, still that's one. That's the dream one. But I was listening to a CD in the car the other day. Yes, I still have CDs, and it was the '69 tour of Simon and Garfunkel just before Bridge Over Troubled Water came out. And I was thinking they're both still alive. How great would it be to see just the two of them solo in a really small venue? You know, Glad Cafe in Glasgow, you know, Simon and Garfunkel. Or maybe they should just bill themselves as Arthur and Paul so nobody knows. And then, you know, a bit of magic close up.
Absolutely. Band or artist you have saw the most.
Oh, maybe Bob Dylan. I've probably seen it. I've seen Neil Young a lot. I've seen Wilco a lot, but I've probably seen Dylan the most. Yeah.
Brilliant. And two other ones. The best ever gig.
Neil Young at Playhouse is up there. U2 in Leeds. It was that first off the Achtung Baby, you know, the Zoo TV tour where they first were in character of, you know, all of that stuff was phenomenal. 80,000 people or something was at that, and I got pretty close to the stage for that to see it all. Amazing visual. A more recent one was Roger Waters at the Circus Maximus in Rome. So with Palatine Hill above, and phenomenal show. I mean, just incredible. He's just as good, if not better, than he was when he was younger. That was pretty impressive. The first time I saw PJ Harvey, that was, you know, she came out in a big fur coat and off the Rid of Me tour and just stood there like that for about 10 minutes while the audience just went wild before she played a note. Just stood there. And that gig was great. That stands out. And I reckon any absolutely any gig I probably went to between the ages of 16 and 19 was probably the best gig I'd ever been to. And in a way, I'm still chasing the feeling of that, of when you first go to gigs and you can't wait for the lights to go down, the smoke machines to start, the curtains to part, kind of thing. It's a phenomenal feeling that I hate the fact that I've seen enough gigs now and that I'm older. I I just can't get that same feeling. I know too much of what goes behind, to really be in awe of that moment. So any gig probably at that age is the best I've ever been to.
Yeah, here, here. I used to live just next to Palatine Hill in Rome.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's another story. And one to finish, one live album everyone should own.
Oof. Um, I'll give three. Van Morrison's It's Too Late to Stop Now. Wilco's Kicking Television. And probably Rock of Ages by the band. But I would maybe make it the re-release where they called it the Academy of Sound shows, where it was an incredible remaster of that show. So yeah, there's my three.
Perfect. That's brilliant. Jonathan, thanks for that. That's great.